Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
And welcome to the show, guys. Today we have the Prophet on. He is a sales guru. I don't think guru is going to do any justice to him, but he is a sales expert, and he's going to break it all down for us and tell us his entire story. Prophet. Let's get some of that. How did you get here?
Thank you. I really appreciate that introduction. I didn't have an ideal childhood. A lot of people said I should have written a book or a movie about it. Now, I'm not trying to turn this into a sob story either, but I've been on my own since I was 15 years old. And when you're 15, you can't legally work anywhere, right? So how are you going to feed yourself when you only have yourself to rely on? So as a high school dropout, my only opportunity came as a classified ad in the newspaper. I showed up as an introvert on a Monday morning to a warehouse with like 12 deep chest freezers in it. They were filled with frozen steaks. So this company was teaching people how to go door to door and sell steaks. Now, it sounds easy enough. Everybody's got to eat, right? So I went and I gave it my all for 2 weeks. I gave it everything I had, and I made $40 after 2 weeks. I was red hot. I was super mad. But the crazy part is I would see people come in who had their own personal problems, right? Specifically drug addiction. I would watch actual crackheads come in. They would take this product. They would go door to door. They would make $700 to $1,000 in a day. They would disappear for 2 to 3 days, come back, rinse, repeat, and do it again every single time without fail. And when I saw that after 2 weeks, I told myself, if a crackhead can do this, I can do this. And I never looked back.
I think you broke up a bit when you started talking about the crackheads, I think.
Yeah. So I came in and decided, if crackheads can do this, I can do this. And I never looked back. So
Definitely.
I learned that day that virtually anybody can do sales, okay? Because I was incredibly introverted. I didn't have that family or social support structure that usually creates the confidence that people need to excel in things like sales. But I do believe that it's something that anybody can learn because, I learned it, right? And I've sold everything from frozen steaks door to door to Kirby vacuums, cars, property, databases, consulting work, marketing, merchant services, credit card processing, sales expertise, training, SaaS, businesses, and much, much, much more. At the end of the day, I think the one thing, like if I could go back, the one thing that I would tell myself as a younger person is to focus on these sales skills, because you're going to need to be able to sell yourself, even if you're not in sales, to get into whatever career you're trying to get into.
Definitely. This is going to be out of the podcast. I forgot to make this clear. Is it cool if I call you Matthew?
It is.
But I can't call you the full name, right? Matthew is cool,
correct.
Right?
Matt or Matthew is fine.
I think Matt is better, so we don't get into the tongue twister of Prophet.
I love it.
Yeah, Matt. Okay. Let me see. Okay, Matt. So tell us a bit how you actually learned how to sell, because you said you got into sales working for a meat factory, and what made you you found that anyone can learn how to be a good salesman, but how did you actually learn?
Oh, great question. Mentors. And, this is one of the things that really drives me crazy when I'm on platforms like Instagram, Because if you're looking for sales training, they phrase it as mentorships. Now, I'm all about mentorships. I'm all about paying it forward, but I've never paid a mentor anything, right?
Mm.
These companies are saying that because it's a lot easier for you to embark on a new endeavor if you have a mentor there to guide you. It's just a sales tactic that makes it a little bit easier for you to pull out your wallet. I don't take that approach because what I'm teaching is something real. When you go to them, they may teach you some skills that are profitable that you can use to make money. But at the end of the day, they're teaching you niche sales. They're going to teach you how to sell a product that they're probably selling in a secondary company, at which point when you finish the sales training, they hire you in the secondary company, and then they basically make money off of your career until you stop working for them, right? I just don't like that model. If you want to learn how to sales, or if you want to, you're going to cut that one. If you want to learn how to be a doctor, you can go to school for it. If you want to learn how to be an engineer or a mechanic, like you can go to school for it. If you want to learn how to be a welder or work on airplanes, you can go to trade school for that. But if you want to learn how to sell, where do you go? Profit's
mentor,
profit.
right?
Yeah,
Profit,
which brings
definitely.
me back to the mentorship. So how did I learn? Real mentors, actually. I had a gentleman who owned that company who saw that I came into work with PhD and enthusiasm. I didn't have a whole lot else, but I had a lot of enthusiasm, and that was enough. And so he taught me the basics of building value, getting commitment, and searching for the close. That day, he taught me how to use the box close, and I started doing impulse sales. And those were the hardest sales that I have ever done. And it has given me the experience that I need to excel not only in other types of sales, but again, just selling yourself so that you can work other places too.
So you're gonna have to break that down a bit for us. You said box sales and impulse sales. What are those?
I am so happy you asked. So an impulse sale, in its most simplest terms, it's a sale that you are not looking to make. You're cut that. Impulse sales, in its most simplest terms, is getting somebody to buy something that they were not originally looking to buy. That instant.
So they're not even a lead.
Exactly. So if you think about when you go to a gas station or when you go to the supermarket, whenever you're in that line for checkout, they always have all the candy there, all the drinks there, but they're not at adult eye level, are they? They're at your children's eye level. There's a reason for that, right? Because the kid is going to grab it and say, "Mommy, Daddy, I want this." That's an impulse sale. They didn't come into that line looking to buy a candy bar for their kid, right? But it was placed in a way that promoted making that sale possible. That is an impulse sale. So when you're selling something door to door, nobody likes to be sold, but you're selling a product that everybody needs. It's food. Everybody eats. And so how does the box close work? Well, it works something kind of like this, Mike. Let's say that I pulled up to your house and I was selling meat, right? I am going to ask you, do you eat meat?
No, I probably do.
I'm going to wait uncomfortably for that response. When they say yes, then I ask them the next question. If I cut you a great deal, would you be willing to do business with me today?
Probably will.
And again, I'm going to wait uncomfortably for them to say yes. And once they do, they're closed. They don't know it yet, but they're closed. So you tell them, look, when you go to the store, you're going to spend $12, $15 per cut. Today, I'm offering steaks at $10 per cut. I pass them a pin, they sign, they pay me cash, check, whatever. But if they come up with an objection, like I need to talk, if they come up with an objection, like I need to talk to my wife, or I need to look
The
at
steak's not good
other
enough.
options or
Mm.
whatever it may be. None of that matters because they just told you, number one, they're going to be buying this product anyway. Number two, they told you that they'd be willing to do business with you today if you cut them a good deal. Number three, you cut them a good deal. So ask them, I don't understand. You just told me that you're going to be buying this anyway. You just told me that if I cut you a great deal, you'd be willing to do business with me today. I don't understand what happened between then and now.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's
And then
like
you wait
it's
for that
like
uncomfortable
a buy-in,
response.
right?
It is.
You're
It's buy-in.
getting them to buy in.
So that is a box close. That is used for impulse sales. It's incredibly effective in door-to-door sales, but it's a niche ability. If you want to make real money in sales, you need to be doing something more like value sales.
Hmm. Man, I told you, man, I'm a student of sales, so we're gonna have to get into that. I think the box sale, you can. It sounds to me more like a jab hook, right?
Exactly. So you're going to get 3 basic commitments verbally. Now, we always
Yeah.
try to get more than that. Whenever
Yeah.
I am doing my sales pitches, I generally talk in questions, don't I? That way, whenever your client is listening to you speak, they're agreeing with you, aren't they? And as long as you slip those questions in a natural fashion, it should go over as them just nodding yes, giving you these tiny, tiny, tiny little commitments, but they're not just little commitments. They're actually bricks in the foundation of the commitment that you use when you close that deal. They all add up. It's part of a bigger strategy called game theory.
We'll definitely get into that. But for now, let's stick to what you said about the third one that you mentioned. I kind of forgot the name.
Value selling.
Value selling. Let's get right into that.
Give me just 1 second.
Cool layer, by the way.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I tell people I've got a face made for radio, so I can at least give it a pretty frame, right?
Definitely.
So sorry, I'm writing a book and I'm actually using some of these chapters to answer your questions.
What's the name of the book?
Where your head goes, your ass follows.
Man, you were the kind of guy I would hang out with, man.
I love it. Okay, so value sales.
Okay.
These are not straightforward because while your product may have a set price, what you charge does not. Let me put that into more simple terms. If you're selling software, for instance, and this software is the only thing that keeps a business open, then it's critical to their infrastructure. Now, your pricing may be something like $1,000, $2,000, $4,000 a month. But if this is a multi-million-dollar company or a multi-billion-dollar company, do you really want them making billions of dollars on your back for $1,000 or $2,000 a month? Well, the answer is no. Obviously not. That's bad business. So what you do is when you pitch your deal, when you're building value, you're selling this as a solution to their problems, and you're a lot less focused on price. You're a lot more focused on what are the problems that they're having that you can solve. So as an example, oh shit, I can't use that example. Give me 1 second.
All the time you want. All the time you want, man.
And I lost my track of thought too. Wow, it's been one of those days.
It's one of those days. Don't worry about it. We got to get it there.
Okay, so 1 second.
Before you get it up, or while you're getting up, the Profits Profit thing, is it a brand of yours, or is it just an identity?
Both. So it is a brand and an identity. So just like, sorry?
Go on.
Yeah, so it's a brand and an identity. So I believe, we can use professional sports athletes as an example here. If they
Mm,
really want to be profitable during their careers, they have to do more than just be paid to play sports. They make
definitely.
most of their money off of things like
Brand
sponsorships.
deals. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So a lot of those people create their own gear that they just white label. So it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. Uh, Profit's Profit is a brand, but it's also my identity. I can see your future and it holds more profit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now that's the profit part, right?
Absolutely. So,
Makes
you know, I
sense.
I made an interesting post on on Instagram because a couple of weeks ago I closed a deal for $400,000 cash upfront. And
Wow.
I've heard it from competitors. I've heard it from potential clients. And that day, I closed yet another high value deal. Why? Because I'm not selling price, I'm selling value.
Mm.
In fact, I made the post that day because that morning I had a colleague tell me that I was going to lose my deal if I didn't lower my price. Here's to you, buddy. Uh, this is the truth. If someone says your prices are too high, it's because they don't yet see the value. And that's not their
Definitely.
failure, but it is your opportunity to educate them. Don't let it be your failure. So instead of dropping my price, I highlighted the return on their investment. I showed proof of past results. I positioned my offer as an investment, not a cost. I built a ton of rapport and I positioned it as a win-win situation. And when you do that, they can't say no.
Definitely.
So
Definitely. It's all about positioning,
it
right?
is. And selling value isn't just about justifying the price, it's about showing why your offer is priceless. Remember, the
Mm.
clients don't want cheap, they want results.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video because that chat might just change your life.
You know, there's always talk about this this triangle, which is price, quality, speed, right? So you're kind of eliminating the price factor and you're stretching the quality, or you're bringing the quality closer. And that quality can also be translated into value, if we're going to bring that back to the value thing. So you're emphasizing on the value to almost to the point that the price doesn't matter. If it's this valuable to you, you would be able to pay anything for it.
Exactly. And look, I discovered this not by accident, but by turning my failures into success. Okay. I'm
Mm.
not more successful than anyone else. I probably just failed more, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I turned those failures into the ability to make six figures in commissions from a single deal. Now, most salespeople focus on benefits. I close multi-million-dollar deals and deals of all sizes by doing the exact opposite. The secret is preemptive failure analysis. So instead of asking, what do you want to achieve? I ask, what's the biggest mistake your last vendor made? Why?
Mm.
Because pain leaves trauma marks. Success leaves fuzzy memories. So
I have to put that down.
when prospects describe past failures, their guard drops, emotion surface, trust skyrockets, they reveal their true buying criteria. 85% of my enterprise deals started by diving into past disasters. They tend to remember the person who understood their scars, not their
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually true. That's actually true. That's definitely actually true. And now that you say it, it's like something we've never heard before, but we all know it, but we don't say it.
I really appreciate that.
So you've talked about three types of sales now, which is the box sale, the impulse sale, and the value sale. Now let's dive in a little bit more about the profit. I got that right.
That is correct. The profit's
So do
profit.
you actively train people as the profit's profit?
I do, with
Mm.
white gloves and personally. So
Mm.
again, if you want a mentor, don't pay for them. I'm
Hmm.
begging you, don't pay for a mentor. If you want to learn a skill, go to an expert that's going to charge you to learn that skill. Don't go to
Hmm.
somebody who's going to say, I'm going to be your mentor, give me your money. But then when you stop paying them, they're not there for you anymore. When they're not making money on you, they're not there anymore, right? You're not getting what you paid for.
That makes a lot of sense. So how is your coaching different? What do you do to make it different?
So my approach to training salespeople is actually controversial. The results of my students are not, though. So most, not all, sales training programs are really sabotaging your own success. They're creating the very objections that you're trying to overcome. So let's think about this for a
Yeah.
second. Day one of traditional sales training. Here are all the ways they might say no, right? That mindset does nothing but program people to hunt for problems, expect rejection at every turn, fear objections, and ultimately prepare for failure instead of success. It's psychological and business suicide. So I flip the script, right? My method is I teach people closing psychology first, and I weave it into every lesson. Objections aren't roadblocks. They're either a roadmap to close the deal or an
Hmm.
opportunity to redirect and dodge entirely. No objection train or no rejection train. I don't do rejection training. I expect you to have a thick skin. I will teach you confidence. There's no war room prep, just pure closing mindset. And the results speak for themselves. So most of my students have 300% increase in their impulse sales alone. Students spotting buying signals instead of objections.
Hmm.
Triple the profits with a simple shift. Here's the secret. The mind is going to find what it's looking for. Train someone to spot objections, they're going to find them everywhere. Train somebody to spot buying signals, they're going to uncover paths to close and glide past objections entirely. In fact, my top closer actually said it the best. After he came to 3 or 4 of my classes, he saw a dramatic turn in his closes, and he came over and he told me about it. I said, "What happened? What changed for you in your own mind?" And he said, "Well, I stopped preparing for war and I started preparing for partnerships." That's bold. That doesn't mean you never have to face objections. It just means you handle them differently, without confrontation, without fear. You learn to frame your conversations for success from the very, very, very start. Contrast that with the snake oil tactics that are being sold elsewhere, right? A flashy speaker with a lot of confidence who programs you to fight objections head on and then ends up in battle in every time or every sale. That's just not selling.
Yeah. And that's what the mainstream sales industry looks like at this point. It's just a bunch of confident guys, bunch of speakers who, memorize a lot of lines and they sell that to their audience.
Oh yeah, they've got some really slick objection or ways to over. Oh yeah, they've got some really slick ways to overcome objections, and I'm happy to go into some of those for you if you want. But at the end of the day, most objections you can sidestep. They don't have to come up.
Hmm. My coach used to say that they don't have to come up if you deal with them before they become objections. Is that
Abs-
right?
That is correct.
Hmm.
I don't believe in luck, but my definition of it really fits right here, right? I believe that luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Definitely, definitely. It's a beautiful. Conor McGregor, he said, it's a beautiful feeling when preparation meets opportunity.
Actually, didn't know he said that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he actually did say that. I'm not saying he came up with it, but I just remember him
That's very
saying that,
cool.
and that's a beautiful feeling for when preparation. You are prepped for this, and not to say going into war, but like your mind is ready, and you're confident, and you're given the opportunity. You just eat it up like a dog.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I teach, so the other thing that I teach really emphatically is game theory. I want to dive
Hmm.
into that for just a second. So
Okay.
imagine turning every sales conversation into a strategic game where you control the moves, right? That is game theory. It's a scientifically proven secret weapon that top salespeople use to close deals faster and smarter. So research shows that in competitive situations, and I mentioned this earlier, framing an offer as a win-win leads to better outcomes for both sides. That was actually published by von Neumann and Morgenstern, Theory of Games and Economic Behavior. But by positioning your product as the best move for your prospect, you create a scenario where saying yes is the optimal choice, making them feel like they've won the deal.
Can we run through some examples? How would you go about that? Like, it sounds brilliant, but I think putting it into work is where the real beauty comes in. Actually seeing it in action.
So let's broaden this a little bit. So
Okay.
I believe that if you want to be good at sales or any skill, the only thing that you can really do to master it is use it as much as inhumanly possible. I call that a game, right? And this is my game. It's my favorite game. I play it with everybody. Most people have no idea that I'm playing it, right? But the idea...
You playing it right now?
I'm playing it right now. Give me just one second, though. Sorry, just 1 second. Almost there. It's not it. All right, here we go. Okay, so think about it this way, Mike. Have you ever played a game or done a task that required you to repeatedly do the same thing, like press the button X, for instance? But when the time came to press a different button, you pressed X. What if I told you that wasn't an accident by design? This is game theory. So when you guide prospects through a series of small agreements, you're not just making conversation, you're building an unstoppable momentum of positive psychology, aren't you? Game theory calls this sequential commitment. So think about it this way. Would you agree that time is valuable?
Definitely.
Is finding the right solution important to you?
Right now, of course.
If I could solve that problem, would it make a difference?
Most definitely.
Every yes that I just got isn't just an answer. It's a brick in the foundation of trust, isn't it? So now, by the time I reach my closing question, do you think your prospect has already built a psychological pattern of agreement? You want the secret sauce, don't you? Your questions must flow naturally, each one building on the last. Nobody likes feeling manipulated. The key is authentic curiosity that leads to genuine solutions, isn't it? The goal isn't to trick anyone. It's about helping prospects uncover their own path to a yes. Using this theory most effectively by actually speaking in questions that will help my students understand it better. Right. Once they understand it, they can properly use it, can't they? Once they're properly using these techniques, their deals are going to close a lot faster. Agreed? Again, do you see what I just did there? Count the question marks in that.
It's like from the beginning, that's like 7.
So if you want to close a client, the easiest way to get them to say yes is to get them to say yes repeatedly before you ask them the important one.
Definitely. I see the wisdom behind that. But let me run this by you. My coach, he used to say no is stronger than a yes. It's the same concept.
I agree.
But you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
What would you say about that? What would you say about that?
Oh, when a client tells me no, they're telling me one of two things. One, they don't understand. Two, they're giving me a roadmap to the close, right? So, an example. When I was selling cars, I had a client, I actually had a lot of clients do this. They would come into my office, we would do the test drive, we would get into my office, we would be talking about the numbers, we'd get down to what I thought was a deal, and they would say, oh, I gotta go talk to my wife. Or
Mm.
even better, this is the first place that I stopped. Well, so how do you respond to something like that? What I
Mm.
did is I would ask them, look, I understand this may be the first place that you stopped and you don't know what else is out there.
Mhm.
But have you ever lost your phone before or your car keys?
Yeah.
And when you did, and you started looking for those, have you ever had a sorry, let me back that up. So when you did have, so when you did lose that item and you started looking for it, have you ever been in a situation where you lost that item, started looking for it, and then you found it in the first place that you looked?
Yeah.
When you did you keep looking, Mike?
Nah.
Neither did I, because it's a waste of time.
Mm. Exactly. Exactly. As long as you're a fit, as long as they see the value, nothing else matters. You know.
Exactly. Forgive me, Mike. What was the question you asked me before I went on my little tirade?
Yeah, the question, I didn't think you understood me, but I wanted to let you go on that. The question was what I said, because we were going through the yes ladder you were talking about, getting
Oh,
the client to yes ladder. So
yeah,
my question was, I said my coach, he used to say like getting a no, not a no like no, I don't want to buy, but like getting them to buy in using a no instead of a yes. You know, like you would frame it in the negative. So you would say, would you say, how would I say this? Like you want to say, would you say time is valuable? Would you say time is invaluable? Do you think your time is invaluable? And you want them to say, no, definitely my time is valuable. So what I'm saying is my coach used to say, getting them to say no is a stronger feeling. The same feeling you're trying to drive, but there's a stronger feeling than getting them to say yes. So what would you say about that?
so I would say there's a lot of wisdom behind that, but it comes
Mm,
down to the strategy of your sale.
mm,
So you could use that and actually plug into game theory. And
mm,
while you are creating those strong emotions, which I just want to highlight,
mm.
people make emotional buys. They very
Yeah,
rarely make informed buys, right?
yeah.
So getting somebody emotional is one of the easiest ways to close them.
Mm,
Um, um, I'm just thinking about how to phrase this.
that's cool.
So if that won't work, just a moment. Okay. So if I have a client who tells me no to anything, right? That's an objection. What I want to do is number one, isolate it. Number two, understand it. So
Mm,
when they tell me no, I can't make this purchase because I haven't talked to my wife, right? They're telling me if they talk to their wife, they're going to make this deal. That's a bad no. Let's strike that one. That's a horrible, horrible, horrible example. One second.
cool,
Um,
man.
okay. So if a client tells me no, I can't afford this. Okay. They're not telling me they're not going to buy it. They're telling me they just don't have the budget available for it, or they don't see the value in it. Either which way, that is a roadmap to close that client.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
you
mm,
can offer them a discount or you can rebuild value. But again, the
mm,
fact that they told you no is actually telling you how to close the client. So, yes, I would agree with him in that sense. And I would also agree with your mentor in the sense that making people very emotional does
mm,
equate to easier sales. You know,
mm,
contrasting is another great example of this. So, have you ever gone
mm,
to like a jewelry store and when you go in, they ask you, what's your budget? And you say, I don't know, let's throw some numbers out there, Mike, 2 grand. And they say, oh,
two
okay,
grand, yeah.
beautiful. We have a lot of jewelry that was within that budget. Let me show you some. And the first thing they pull out is a $25,000 watch. Has that ever happened to you?
No, no, no. I've never experienced something like that. What's the logic behind that? What's the reasoning behind that?
So I would actually respectfully disagree with you. You have been in those
Mm,
situations. And
mm,
what they're
mm,
doing is they're trying to make you mad. They're trying to get you emotional. right? They want you to think
Mhm.
that that price is so outrageously outside of your budget. Why would they even offer it? Because
Mm.
whatever price they give you next is going to seem like a deal of a lifetime. So your budget may
Mm.
have been 2 grand, but I might be able to sell you on a $3,000 watch now. Now let's flip the script a little bit though. Let's say I showed you a $500 watch first. You think I'm going to be able to sell that $3,000 watch? Especially when you just
No,
told me your
no way.
budget was 2 grand?
No
That's
way.
that's contrasting. So whenever you
Mm.
walk into a luxury department store or something, whenever you walk in, take a look around next time. You'll see that all their most expensive, all their most flashy, extravagant items are right in front because it
Yeah.
frames your mind for every sale that comes after that. If all the
Yeah.
items you saw in the front of the store are $2, $3, $4,000, all of a sudden $600, $700 purses are nothing.
It doesn't look like anything. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, the term for that, now it makes sense. The term for that I'm familiar with is called price anchoring. So you use a
Uh-huh.
high price as an anchor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. That's another thing. Now let's transition a little bit into social media. You know, how do you get clients with this under the mask persona of the prophet's prophet? How do you get clients to, you know, believe you and trust you when they can't see your face?
I'm going to go back to one of the first questions you asked me.
Mm.
It comes down to being able to sell yourself. I'm not
Mm.
I'm not selling my product on Instagram. It's not happening. If somebody reaches out to me, I am more than happy to help them out. I'm more than happy to point them in the right direction and offer them resources. But at the end of the day, I'm not having them purchase my training through Instagram.
Mm. Makes
Instead,
sense.
we're jumping on a phone call. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to make sure that number one, this is actually going to work for you, that I can actually help you. Because the last thing I want to do is be married to a client that's unhappy with what I gave them, right?
Mm.
I just had a total mind fart again.
You want to be unhappy to you want to be unmarried. What did you say? The last thing
Uh,
you want is to be married to a client that what?
the last thing that I want is to be married to a client that is unhappy with the services that I sold them.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Oh, so what's the real sale? Well, the real sale is a meeting. That's all I'm selling on Instagram.
Mm. So you're selling the meeting to even know whether they are even like, how do I say, even ready or primed to work with you.
That's correct. It's got to, these deals have to start somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to build the value that I need. I'm not going to be able to push the information that is specific to the goals that they are trying to reach by using generalized posts to hundreds of thousands of people. Life just doesn't work that way.
So you're saying what I'm getting from you is you're speaking to a particular person. Every time you put something out there on the internet, you're speaking to a particular person.
Correct. And then I make actually, I'm not going to say that, but I am making a value sale.
This happen often, or are you just having a long day?
It's been I've been up since 2:00 this morning in meetings in Philippines and Japan and Australia. I work in 8 different time zones. It's just today though.
Wow. I work in different time zones as well. Cause like last night I had to take a call. I had to take one of these podcasts at like 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. my time. And I had to also get somewhere in the morning at at 8 a.m. So I get it. I get it. It happens.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry. What was the question that you asked me originally before that?
I was asking, how do you get people to buy from you?
Oh,
or to trust you when you have this mask on? Yeah.
So on Instagram, my goal is to build, what's the word I'm looking for? Not rapport, not prestige,
Trust.
not trust, provenance,
Confidence.
That one works. I'm looking to build confidence in my clients, future clients, that I know what I'm doing. And so I make a lot of posts that build to that effect. I give out free sales techniques. I hope that people learn from them. I hope that people are profitable using them, right? At the end of the day, though, the only close I need to make is a meeting.
You're not worried about having them do all this and this. You know, once you get them on the call, it's sold.
It's not just that, you know, because you can't close everyone. It's impossible to make everybody happy, right?
Definitely.
But it is important that you sell to the right people. I don't want to offer these services to somebody who isn't going to be able to benefit from them. You know, somebody who has genuine social disabilities. No, let's not use that one. Yeah. So the goal would be just to teach people the basic charisma that they need, the confidence that they need in order to be able to sell things, whether it's a physical product or themselves. And when I get on a phone call with them, it's the first thing I ask them: what do you hope to gain from this? My second question, do you know what it is, Mike, from our previous conversation? Where did other people go wrong in your previous sales training? What went wrong? Because people are going to remember those scars. Definitely.
So you're just trying to make sure that you can even help them before you even start to help them, basically.
Of course, you know, you could sell snake oil to anybody, but you shouldn't, right?
You shouldn't,
It's just ethically not right.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to get into. We'll get into that later, but I want to ask: is one of your goals for social media to be able to reach more people, or or better yet, are you looking into taking off that mask in the future?
Oh, absolutely, taking off that mask in the future. And I am looking to grow on Instagram, mainly because I like teaching sales. The tips and tricks that I put out there, the community seems to genuinely engage with, and I enjoy that. But at the end of the day, no, I intend to let me say this a different way. At the end of the day, I believe in silent service. So have I made a lot of money? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I've had 7-figure and 8-figure years. But if you look at my page, you don't see all the flashy cars. You don't see the workshop filled with computers where every student apparently comes in and becomes an instant millionaire. It's just not how life works, right?
Yeah.
You know, these other schools too, you reach out to them and they'll tell you they have 2 or 3 seats available. But when they do a tour of the facility, all the tables are empty. Look, I've always got room for more people who have enthusiasm and who want to learn a real skill that they can use to really elevate their life.
Definitely. So are you thinking of like breaking that mold that you see on social media, the flashy car sales coach, you know, the flashy sales coach? Is that you're definitely going to break that mold and you're going to be different? You want to be the one that stands out and is breaking this how do I say, this mental frame that people have, this image that people have of sales coaches, that they're just these flashy guys on Instagram.
Well, it's not just that. When you see somebody who has all these flashy cars, who's made, you know, 7-8 figures in a year, that's intimidating. That's very intimidating, especially when you're only making 20 or 30 grand a year. Now, look, what they're trying to do is show you that you have the potential to be fabulously wealthy, right? But I actually believe that by putting all those flashy cars there, by wearing $200,000 or $300,000 watches, all you're doing is intimidating your students and putting them in a position where they feel like they'll never be able to live up to your status. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Honestly, I hope that the people that I train over the years become better than me. That would make me
Definitely.
happier than nothing else on this planet.
And that's the dream of every coach. That's the dream of every coach, to build a team of students, who are hopefully in the future going to even take on that legacy from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, if my students go through my course and they're enthusiastic and they do well and they want me to mentor them, my mentorship is free. I'll never charge you for it. All you need is enthusiasm. I charge for the school.
That makes sense. And it's an online thing, right? So tell us a little bit about the program. Let's say I want to get into the program. How does that go about?
So we will be online in the future. And I think that's important because one should never think smaller than world domination. You just shouldn't.
Yes.
But I also believe that, again, if you wanted to go to school to learn to be a doctor or engineer or a lawyer, there's a brick and mortar building that you can go to where they teach you those skills. And because you're teaching interpersonal skills, it is so critically important that you are there with them in person, because body language speaks so much more than actual language. And how are you going to get that? How are you going to pick up on that and correct that for your students if they're just watching your videos? You're not watching them.
So you're saying that you have an actual brick and mortar building where you take your students. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
So someone like me living, I don't know, I'm based in West Africa right now. I wouldn't be able to connect with you. Is that what you're saying? Until you take that mask off and bring yourself to the entire world. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying.
So is that something you're looking to do?
That is something that I'm looking to do. Just thinking about how I want to.
And how are you willing to go about it? And how are you looking to go about it?
Can you phrase that a different way?
You said you're willing to take this gift that you have to the world. So how are you willing to go about it? How are you willing to change your strategy now you're faceless on Instagram? How is the strategy going to look now when you take this mask off?
So I am able to create some videos and whatnot that will help anybody in their specific niche areas of sales. But ultimately, my goal would be to have students who come through my class, who are taught by me, who have great careers afterwards, who come back and work for me in other parts of the world and teach people the same methods that I taught them, that somewhere they can pay it forward. I'm not saying it's impossible to learn sales online. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is you're going to pick it up a lot faster in person. Because
definitely
that's how you're doing your sales.
Definitely. It's like trying to shoot a basketball by watching mechanics clips on YouTube. It doesn't really work that way. You have to pick up the ball.
Exactly, because you get no feedback.
That makes a lot of sense. So when should I be expecting that?
I hope to go global by the end of this year.
That's a great plan. That's a great vision. And so that tied me back to that question. How are you going to go about that? Are you going to be posting more? Are you going to do some more marketing?
Exactly that. I'm going to treat this kind of, let me say that a different way.
Okay.
So exactly that. A lot of businesses tend to live and die by their marketing budget. And not because they were spending too much, because they were spending too little, right? So I do intend to spend a lot of money on marketing, not to create false images or anything like that, but just to get the word out there, to create that community. Once you get that community built and people feel like they're a part of that community, everything else falls in with it.
Yeah, everything else falls in with it. It's like a lot of coaches I speak to on here, they really emphasize on reverse engineering the process of getting clients. You focus on delivering so much that your work speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that again is kind of why I believe in silent service. When I was selling cars, it hit me like a brick wall All of the people that were giving me the advice, all of the educators, were the people not making the sales. The people that were really good at it were too busy selling to stop and teach me about it. We called them lot lizards, right?
We call them what?
Lot lizards. Because they sit out on the lot just like a sunbathing lizard, waiting for somebody to show up so they can sell them a car. That's a great success, or that's a great recipe for failure.
That's a great recipe for failure, you said.
That's a great recipe for failure. Don't wait for your clients to come to you. Go to them.
Exactly. So another thing I was gonna say is you said about the best are too busy selling, and that's true. But you're in a stage in your career where you can share this blessing. Like someone like me who's really into sales, I would love to benefit from you, but you have to bring this gift that you have to the world. And the only way to do that in 2025 is online. So I think it's definitely something that is not a lot of people are into sales. You know, people are into sales. I would say it's 1 or 2 out of 10 people. But the people who are into sales are really, really into it because it's an amazing art. It's an art, you know, it's an art that people don't speak about. You know, we sell every time we speak. Speaking to your mom is selling, speaking to your wife is selling, you know. So I think a lot of people can benefit from this.
I agree. And the part that I, again, respectfully disagree with is that 2 in 10 people are in sales. 10 of 10 people are in sales. You're always selling something. If you're interviewing for a job, you're selling yourself, right? If you're going out on a date, you're selling yourself. Everyone's in sales. And so my school differs a little bit in that way as well, because we're able to teach you the foundational charisma and confidence that will allow you to do that. Even if you're not in sales, you'll be able to go out and apply for a job with more confidence. You'll know how to phrase your request for a raise, all of these things.
So it's a foundational, fundamental training.
Correct. And I believe that 10 out of 10 people could benefit from my training.
Yeah, definitely. Then if they want to get mentored, that is when you were speaking about that mentorship thing.
And my mentorships, very limited. Again, I don't charge for them. Now, in my career in sales, I've made a living and a killing. I have made far more than enough to retire by now. But you know, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to sales like drug addicts are addicted to their drugs. I'm
like
always
LeBron in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be selling something. I'm taking a major pay cut by leading the sales school, but it's something that I have a passion for. It's something that I'm enthusiastic about, and it can still be profitable.
You mean the school?
You
mean the school as in your thing, the profits?
That's correct. I took a major pay cut to start this school up because, again, you know, I've already made my money. Am I against making more? No. That's why I charge for the school, right? You should never work for free. But on that same token, when you get to a certain point in your career, you just want to do what it is that you have a passion for. And my passion is teaching people sales.
Definitely. I think sales is because this podcast, the audience are coaches and consultants and people who are trying to grow on social media. And I think sales is one of the first or the most important lessons you can learn. To present yourself, to portray yourself, as you said, to sell yourself is one of the most important lessons you can have. So where can people find you to learn more about your work?
The best place would be Instagram. You can find me at Profits Profit, or I have a website that's going to be launched in the next couple of days. Actually, let me strike that for a second. I'm contemplating. So I'm building a website right now for the Profits Profit. I don't want to say that because I want it. I want them to think that the infrastructure is already there because it is.
And that's good because this is not going to be released today. So that's a good thing as well.
I appreciate that. So the best place to find me is going to be on Instagram. I do have websites launching, and those will be advertised heavily on my Instagram.
Yeah. So the Instagram is Profit. Is it the Profit?
It is Profits with an S _ Profit.
So that is PROFITS_PROPHET.
That is
Did I get that?
correct.
Okay. So, and the website, what's the URL? What's the domain?
Yes. 1 second. Okay, so the website domain is going to be profits-profit.com. I'm going to do another one too. You can also reach me through my marketing company at www.3spotsmarketing.com, and that is the number 3 spots
Okay.
marketing.
Three
is the
sports.
Yeah,
Three spots.
that is
Marketing?
that is the
Sorry.
number. You're okay. www.3spotsmarketing.com. That is the number 3 spots, SPOTS, marketing.com.
Okay, so you heard that, people. You want to find him on Instagram? It's profit_profit. Profits_profit. His website is profits-profit, and his marketing website. Is that what you said?
That is correct. My marketing company, 3 Spots Marketing.
3 Spots Marketing. That is 3, which is the number 3, Spots Marketing. And Matthew, it's been a wonderful conversation. I would love to learn more about your work, and I'll definitely look into you. And yeah, it's been great having you on. Before I let you go, let me ask you this question. What is one thing you wish I asked you on this pod?
So thank you for having me, Mike. What is the one thing that I wish you would have asked me that you didn't? What is one personal trait that somebody could have, somebody could learn, that would make them far more effective in sales? And the one thing that I teach everybody is that if you want to be a master salesperson, you have to teach yourself to start being comfortable being uncomfortable. Whenever you hit your client with a price, fill the atmosphere with silence. The first person to speak is the first person that will lose. The first person to speak is also the person that is most uncomfortable with the silence. So clients at that stage, if you built value correctly, are talking themselves into the deal, not out of it. So you want them to talk first. You know, the sheep take the road because it's easy, but the predators hide in the mud and the bush because it isn't. And so that's the one thing that I wish that we could have expanded on just a little bit more. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah, being comfortable in that silence, you know.
Not just that, being uncomfortable, being uncomfortable. You just remember, if you're uncomfortable, everyone before you was too. So if you can teach yourself to manage that discomfort, become comfortable, you will have an edge over everybody who went before you. You will reach out to clients that other salespeople would never even dream of.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, man. And this was a good one. This has been a good one, Matt. And as I said, Profits Profit. You want to check him out on Instagram, and people can learn more about your work and definitely tap more into your insight. And it's been a great one, man.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?